Now, Donald Trump has given his first interviews since being shot, the bullet clipping his ear. He rang a reporter who was at the rally to see if she was okay, and she asked him for an interview. He said, fine, but no photographs of him with a loose bandage over his ear. He wants to project that strength. He said he was supposed to be dead. It was a miracle he was alive. He talked about what he would now say, the big Republican convention tomorrow morning our time, when he's at the end of it, eventually he's going to formally accept the Republican nomination for the November election. Well, joining me is the man who served as President Donald Trump's first spokesman in the White House, Sean Spicer. Sean Spicer, good to see you. Look, I was stunned at first, though I said I was stunned about this attempted assassination, but really thinking it through, I'm just amazed that it didn't happen before, to be honest.
You know, you're on to something, Andrew. With the rhetoric the way it is on the left, telling people, starting with the Trump administration, to gather around them, to get in their face, to make things uncomfortable. You knew it was going to happen at some point. We're a country of 300 million people. At some point, somebody takes it to heart. And for the left and the media here in America, who are so quick to judge everybody on the right about what they say and what it might mean, and et cetera, it's funny, they never seem to think that their comments, that their rhetoric is going to result in everything. We saw it after Steve Scalise, the senior congressman from Illinois in House leadership, was shot. I was there with President Trump when we went to the hospital that night. And it was a Bernie Sanders supporter that thought he was doing the bidding of the left. The left didn't take responsibility then. They didn't take down their rhetoric then. And yet, here we are again, another person shot. And what's the reaction from the left? We all need to take the temperature down. Well, let's be blunt. I've said from the jump that violence never has a place, but it's the left that turned the rhetoric up. And now they're the ones that are telling we all need to take it down. And I appreciate all their comments, Andrew, but at the end of the day, the one thing that's lacking in any of this is, for all the judgment they have in the other direction, I haven't heard anyone take responsibility for their actions or their words today and saying, I'm part of the problem on the left. I need to do it. They all say we all need to do it, as if we are all part of the problem. They need to take more responsibility for themselves, though.
But Sean, I think it's even worse than what you've just said. Maybe I'm just reading different media. I don't know. I'm actually seeing some in the left gaslight Donald Trump, saying that, in fact, Donald Trump is to blame for the heated rhetoric. And by the way, they add, the shooter was a member of the Republican Party. So it's, it's just a Republican infight or something like that. Your response?
Well, let's take the two things. Let's talk about the shooter for 1 second. Do you really think that anyone who is a Republican or supporter of Donald Trump would express their excitement about Trump by trying to kill him and or several of his supporters? I mean, on his face, that doesn't make sense, right? And so we have to just look at this with common sense, which is, if you were going to shoot a supporter and the candidate of one political party, that's not a sign of admiration or excitement or enjoyment. It's quite the opposite. And I think that the reason that you're hearing that from the left and the media is that they don't want to accept common sense. The second thing, to your point, is I agree with you wholeheartedly. CNN reporting initially that Donald Trump was taken by the Secret Service after he fell. USA Today, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all disgusting. And to your point about the host, Margaret Brennan, the so-called host of of Face the Nation, talking about how Donald Trump's rhetoric caused this. Martha Raddatz of ABC News this morning talking about it in the same way, that it's Trump's rhetoric. Somehow he's to blame for him getting shot.
Look, I saw Jake Tapper of CNN even say, start to elicit a line of questioning or answers that Donald Trump was reckless to shake off his security guard so that he could expose himself and shake his fist and shout, fight, 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 instead of running away, in fear. Listen, in fact, Donald Trump's reaction to being shot.
By the way, can I just comment on that?
What does that say to you about the man, and what does it do to his election campaign?
It goes to exactly what you just said, Andrew. The reason that they're upset is that he showed strength. He showed perseverance. He showed American grit. You know, last week, Biden said over and over again, when I get knocked down, I get back up, blah, blah, blah. Well, Donald Trump never got knocked down. He stayed up and he showed why Americans love a fighter. And here's the problem with your Jake Tapper quote. They initially reported he fell down and was helped up by Secret Service. They are trying to equivocate this. They want to put him on the same plane as Joe Biden, who did fall down, right? Here's the problem. They are so in the tank for the left. They're trying anything they can do to undermine him. That was a sign of strength, and that picture will go down in history as one of the most iconic American moments. And I think they just hate it. Think about this for a second, Andrew, and for your audience. In your most vulnerable state, having been your life attacked, and you still don't at that moment know if more bullets are coming, who else has been hit, how bad you yourself have been hit. His immediate reaction is to show strength. I don't know how many other people could say that. I would fathom to say many of these media people would be on the ground in a pool of their own. Well, I'm not going to go. I will just say, I don't think a single one of them would be standing. I think they'd be crying and cowering. And look, I'm just saying it was quite contrast to what you saw with President Trump.